Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sandman. I'm here with another tarot video, but today it's more of a review rather than a first impressions. I've actually had this deck for a long time. I've had it for a few years. I've worked with it a lot since I got it, but I have spent a lot of time away from it as well. So the deck that I have for you today is the Starman Tarot, and I have a lot of thoughts about this. If you have any annoyance with the noise going on in the background, you're gonna have to get over it. It's my cat. Thanks! This is by David de Angelis, inspired by the artworks he created for David Bowie. So it has the 78 standard cards for a tarot deck, and it has a 192 page book. So this was made as a tribute to David Bowie, of course, and I think this was actually co-made with his wife. I could be mistaken on that. I have a love-hate relationship with this deck, and we'll get into why, but let's just start cracking into it, shall we? So first of all, the packaging, phenomenal. So this is the box. It's fairly large. And as you can see, it's got like this divot in it that is the lightning bolt shape from the Aladdin Sane album cover, the makeup that David Bowie had on it. And the person who created this deck actually worked for David Bowie for a long time. A lot of the official art for his albums, including Earthling, which I love the art for Earthling. He created all that art, so he also is the creator of this deck, so that's really exciting. And if you look at this box, the gap is how it comes off. Isn't that so cool? You can tell that there's a lot of care and love put into this deck, a lot of details, and then it slides out like this. The guidebook on top, and now I did not read through this cover to cover, but I did reference it quite a few. Oh, okay, so David made the actual deck, and Esther, who is his, I think it's his wife, helped write the book. So I did reference this a few times, and I really liked a lot of the interpretations that they had, but again, I did not read it cover to cover. On the inside, it's just this book with the pull-out tab. I don't like these designs for boxes. Okay, so I don't like them if they don't have an additional smaller box, specifically for convenience, for convenience sake. I want there to be a smaller box that you can just take places if you so choose. That's not really an option with boxes where they're this giant hunking box that carry the giant book without a smaller box to take it out and just take it with you. So first criticism, they're glossy. Hate that for me. So yeah, and this is what the backs look like. I actually think that's pretty cool. I think it's a really cool design. And a lot of the cards have actually, their names have changed. And I like the names that they changed them to. I don't have a problem with any of the titles being switched out for something. I think they all work pretty well. So that's a non-issue. Let's get into why I don't like it, and also look through the cards. So first we have the Sacred Clown, which replaces the Fool. And yeah, so my qualm with these is, there's a lot to say. And then we have the Hanged Man. And I don't think oh, by the way, these are not in order. I've used this deck a lot. I just happened to start on the Fool, or the Sacred Clown, rather. My issue with these cards is not really a fair issue to have. So when I first got this deck, I got it because I saw the box, and oh my god, this card's gorgeous. I saw the box for it and I freaked out because I was like, oh my god, it's a David Bowie inspired tarot deck. And I do not, and I really, really love David Bowie. I've listened to his music my whole life. Here's the Lovers. One of my favorite films of all time is The Labyrinth, or Labyrinth rather. And I really love David Bowie. I love who he was, and I've loved him my whole life. I've been a very big fan my whole life. So I was very excited to get this deck. Because I was just like, well, I love David Bowie and I love tarot, so like obviously I want to get the David Bowie tarot deck. Here's my problem. So when I got it, I was so eager to start working with it, and I jumped right into it. And I realized very quickly this is not a David Bowie inspired tarot deck. It is inspired by the artwork made for David Bowie. It's not inspired by the man himself. And that really bothered me, because that's what I thought it was going to be. And in the defense of the creators of this deck, I didn't I didn't read the box. I just saw that it was David Bowie and I bought it. And I was thoroughly disappointed when I went through it the first time. And every time after that I started working with it, I was very thoroughly disappointed with it. Because it's not what I thought it was. It wasn't the thing that I thought it was, which was the reason for me buying it. And so I was very angry with it. Oh, I love this card too. I was very upset with it. There's nothing in this deck. There's not nothing. There's not very much in this deck that reminds me of David Bowie, which is the reason why I bought it. His likeness is used a lot in this. There are a lot of references to his songs and albums, but overall, it's like if you didn't like know what it was going into it, and if you didn't recognize, or if you didn't know what it was going into it, and you took out the example of David Bowie's likeness being used on some of the cards, like on this one, this is the Starman. The Starman is the replacement for the Magician. With that exception, you wouldn't get the impression that this is a David Bowie deck, other than seeing his likeness and like some song references, but even then you would really only catch that that's a song reference if you knew what it was getting into it, you know what I mean? And that was a huge issue that I took with it. And I used it a lot, and I very much liked a lot, not all of them, there are a few images that I don't vibe with, like on terms of interpretation, for the tarot and for reading. This one's insane. But overall, I thought the interpretations through imagery and symbolism worked very well, and I liked a lot of the interpretations that I read through in the book. But I wanted it to be David Bowie deck, and that's just not what it is. And that caused like a lot of yucky feelings, because I wanted it to be different. And now that I've had time to reflect on it and to really understand what the intentions for this deck are, I really, really enjoy it. But some of those initial feelings of like it's not what I wanted are still there. So I'm trying to memory stack with this deck. I'm trying to use it again with the knowledge that it's not inspired by David Bowie. It's inspired by the art made for David Bowie and his albums. So I have to get used to that. And that's such a not stupid, but sort of odd reason to not like a deck, is the art. But I'm an artist. I make art, I'm an illustrator, and I paint. And my draw to most of the decks, not all, but most of the decks that I have is the art. And that's like the thing that I focus on. And I know that I'm not the only person who experiences this. I know it's not a unique experience where if certain cards in the deck just don't hit for you, then the whole deck might as well be forfeit. Oh, this one's the Alien, so this is the replacement title for the Hermit, and I really love the interpretation in the book, how they describe what the symbolism in that card means. Here's the Prince of Wands. Oh yeah, and the court cards, the pages are the princesses and the knights are the princes. I think that's true across all the suits. But yeah, so So I know I'm not alone in feeling that way, or if like certain cards just, they just don't hit for you, then the whole deck is like, why even use it? I know there are a lot of people who feel that way, especially with the Fool, the Lovers, and Death. Those are the big three that everyone's like, oh, if that particular card in this deck isn't something that I like, then I don't even want the deck. And a lot of people don't feel that way. I definitely do. And it's not always with those specific cards. It's just people commonly feel that way with those cards because the Fool is your opener to the deck. That is the first card that you see in a deck. That is the one that's going to carry the tone for the whole deck. That's how you interpret the beginnings of a journey, and you know, that's like the Fool is like more or less like the main character if you consider the tarot deck a journey and a story. And the Lovers is how you depict obviously love, and also teamwork and synergy and choice and things like that. And if that doesn't like hit for you, then it's like it doesn't feel right. And with Death, that's how you represent death and endings and beginnings and abrupt change and you know, the void and things like that. And if that doesn't sit well with you, if that one card doesn't work for you, then the whole deck feels off. So I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. I know a lot of people feel that way. I'm not alone in that opinion. Another reason why I didn't like this deck was because there are a lot of spiders, like realistic looking spiders, and I'm deathly afraid of spiders. Like at my job, we had these bugs encased in resin that we sold, and I was never fond of it. And then all of a sudden my boss got more of them that were spiders, and they were in the store for all of 2 days before I called them and I said, you have to move these to a different location because it's affecting me in such like an emotional way. Like my heart was literally racing the entire 2 days that they were there in the store, and I would come home from work feeling so physically exhausted because of my elevated heart race the entire day. So like seeing spiders is such like a horrible thing for me, and I know why they're there, because the Ziggy Stardust and the spiders from Mars, I get it. But it was too much for me. I also remember this deck, so I haven't worked with this deck in like a couple years. I remembered this deck being so dark, not dark in tone, but dark in like actual light. I remember it being a color-wise, it being a dark deck, and it's not. And I was wondering why, and I remembered like I used this most of the time in my first apartment, which had terrible lighting. So any point, like the light, the ceiling light gave off nothing, and after a certain point of the day, everything in the apartment looked dark no matter what you did, and I didn't have a lamp. I couldn't afford a lamp. So I used this deck and all of the art just looked really dark, so I remembered it being a very dark deck, and it's not. It's very bright and vivid, and I've been spending some time with it after I found it in my closet a couple days ago, and I'm so obsessed with the art. It's so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. Which one's that one? The Devil? God, it's beautiful. How can you not love it? And it's just like, it's so fresh. I really love the style that the art is in. It's my style. It's my favorite kind of art. It's bright and vivid colors. It's layers of different kinds of symbols and styles. It's bright and vivid colors. I don't know if I already said that, but it's cluttered, busy images. It's my favorite kind of art. So I want to start working with it again. I want to like kind of get rid of those bad experiences that I've had with this deck, of it not being what I wanted it to be. And I'm trying to relearn, because like if I just read the box, then I would know what it was. And I don't know if I would have bought it, but I'm glad that I did. And I want to kind of reintroduce myself to it, and vice versa. I want to reintroduce it into my practice. So yeah, hopefully I can work with it and get like a new relationship with it. But it's an absolutely stunning deck. It's really breathtaking, the art. yeah, I'm a really big fan. But there's still, I have to memory stack. So if you don't know what memory stacking, it's when you have like consistent, like, not even consistent, just like profound negative emotions tied to a place or a person or a thing because it happened, something negative happened there, or with them or with that thing. And then you have to, and memory stacking is like intentionally going back to that place or that, doing that thing, to gain new memories so that the new positive memories can overshadow the negative memories that you have, so you don't have that yucky feeling with it anymore. So I have to do that with this deck. But yeah, so I want to work with it now with the understanding that it is not intended to be a David Bowie deck. It's just a deck with a little bit of love for David Bowie thrown in there. I think that this deck is stunning. Well, now I do. Before I didn't. If I'm giving this an entirely unbiased opinion and an unbiased rating, which I don't think I can do, but if I try, I think I'd give it a 7. If I'm giving it biased rating and I'm listening to my heart, I would probably give it a 5.5, which I know is like pretty low, especially for what I usually rate decks, but it's the truth. Yeah, I think I'd give it 5.5 if I was being honest with myself, but I think if I give it more time, if I work with it more with that like fresh perspective of like, this is not a David Bowie deck, then I think with time I would conclude that this is a 7 out of 10. So that is my full review for the Starman Tarot. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I definitely enjoyed making it, just saying. But like, you know, take what you will from this video and then leave the rest. I don't know if this is something that you guys would be interested in. I hope that this video helped you decide, though, if it was something that you'd be interested in or something you could work with. Leave a like down below, or leave a comment down below, or like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more. Look at my playlist with all my other tarot reviews and first impressions, and also Lenormand and Oracle reviews and first impressions. And I'll leave all my social media links in the description below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.